Welcome back. You're listening to another episode of the Keep the Change podcast. We have got the man back in the studio. Now, the last time we saw this lad, he'd just finished 50 flips. I think, can't wait to find out from Tama Singh how many he's done now and what's been happening since we last talked. Firstly, how are you, mate?
I'm very good, mate. Always good to be on the show.
How good. And tell the people how many flips are you up to now?
Yeah, so it's been,
a spreadsheet
I
for
think
this.
we were at 48 last time I was on. That was in July.
Yeah.
And since then, including all the contemporaneous ones, we just went unconditional and sold another one today. Thanks, 59 now.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, for 59 flips.
Now, you've done something pretty major and you've jumped off the building with a
Yep.
parachute on.
No, yeah, burn the bridges, mate. That's how
Yeah.
it works. And quit full-time job.
So I think when you were on last time, you basically revealed that you were also working full time.
Correct, yeah. And I guess with anyone that starts a side hustle, it is to eventually have enough income to replace your full-time job. But I was in a certain full-time job where it was perfect. It's awesome environment. So it's very hard to leave or even think about like the reason why I was doing this. But I did know, and I do preach it a lot, is you are capped at a certain amount of income you can ever earn. And if you are thinking of your wider family, you can't help them sitting at whatever money I was on, even after numerous pay rises. So it had to be property.
Wow, nice
Yeah.
one. So today we're going to go over a little bit of that journey since July. So
Yeah.
going out effectively and building a business and what that's been like and those initial months. Some case studies as well from some of the people that you've been working with. And then a bit about this app that you've built as
yes.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. InvestorPro.
Yeah,
Cool.
awesome. Well, looking forward to digging into it. I think, firstly, if you are stumbling across this and you haven't listened to Tama's first podcast, go back and have a listen to those. You're going to get some backstory of how Tama's got to this point in time, because otherwise you're going to skip a lot and miss a lot and think, wow, that's too hard.
Yeah.
I'd never be able to do that. But there's a lot more of the backstory there. So what's it been like since quitting your job and going all in on this?
Very good in the terms of the financial right move as of yet. You know, July 28th was the last day. And then I went straight into like the biggest seminar I've ever done, which was August 5th, almost 6 days after that. And I had about 105 people attend that. And it was in the launch of having more time to coach people one-on-one, because that was always something that a lot of people asked for. And I launched a mentorship program, and that took up pretty much the next 60 days of my life. And August and September was probably the most absent I've been from home for good planned reason.
Yeah.
But my mentorships are like, I will fly anywhere in the country to where any of them live, like the only coach that would do that, and spend 2 days with them. And I was doing that twice a week, every week for 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was quite hard, but you know, thinking about the travel, but when I'm actually there with them, it was very good to see like, you know, them getting absolutely amazing value. And now that that's sort of finished up and we're going to be planning our next event, it's just, I guess, taking things a bit more 100% professional and serious. So we needed to look at getting our own professional setting, similar to your setup here. We've got our first office as well. So that was always a funny thing to eventually get.
Whereabouts?
It's in Mount Wellington, close to Sylvia Park.
Nice.
And the Garrison pub. No.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe too close. But yeah, it's, so we've got that to do a bit more professional setup. We might do a bit of coaching there as well. But that's sort of where the more serious level has gone to.
what happened for you to think you needed an office?
Eventually, when you get to a certain revenue of property, you know, our company Asgard's done over $10 million in purchases since we started only 2.5 years ago with $4,000 only.
Yeah.
Always will say that point. And the revenue each year has sort of will be over that now. So for the fact of being professional, the amount of invoices we pay, just on the legal standpoint with IRD, safeguarding ourselves, you know, I'm just listening to the people that are smarter than me on this aspect. And if they say we needed an office, I'll take the office. And I also got rammed this down my throat from my dad a lot because he's old school thinking.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't care about the work from home, thinks, you know, we should be in an office, and he wants everything on paper. He doesn't believe in, you know, PDFs and stuff. He wants
Yeah.
it printed out so we can see it. So eventually, you know, that was one of the moves. And obviously it's property, and I got it for a good steal.
I was about to say, I bet you negotiated the deal.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're leasing an office space
Yeah.
effectively? Yeah.
For 1 year. So we negotiated, normally it's 2 years, I've heard.
Yeah.
And we managed to get it for just 1 year. And we managed to get like 6 weeks free rent and got the whole office for under 20K.
For a year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Shit, there's a couple of car parks in my office, mate.
I know. Yeah.
Can I get you to do our next negotiation?
Yeah.
Yeah, good man. I'm not very good at that stuff. I'm an activator, so I'm basically just like, yep, where's the keys?
Yeah, I know.
They're like, well, did you look at the? No, don't worry about the contract. Whatever. Yeah, surely you're a good guy. Aren't you? Yeah, sweet. This will be
You
fine.
won't be off? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I'm not very good at the negotiating thing, man. I
Yeah.
know it's a massive weakness of mine, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, maybe I should.
Important skill, mate. Of course.
Yeah.
It's translate anywhere in the world. That's the great thing about it.
Yeah, definitely an area I could probably spend some time learning.
Yeah.
But anyway, mate, it's not about me. So you got office space now, and you're building up team members then, I assume?
Yeah, 100%. So, like, you know, with following your content and stuff, more towards just the business side, a lot of the things in property, people would just think, oh, you renovate, it's tradies, but it's a lot to do with the admin, especially if you want to become a professional in this and make this an actual solid career. There's a lot of dealings with the accountants. There's a lot of dealings with lawyers, documentation. You have to hold documents for a certain period of time legally. And if you're doing 60 flips right now, your record keeping, invoices, payments is crazy. So that's where we needed an absolute solid space. And because, you know, at home, as a non-distraction free environment, because, you know, my partner, she doesn't work as well. We've got my daughter Zoe, who sometimes will just not go to daycare because we're like, fuck it, we'll just have her home with us.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing as well is one of my other main goals, I think I did mention it, was I can't be the one to just earn enough to resign from my job and just live a happy-ish life. I needed that for, say, my mum as well. Because she used to work, she wanted to stay on for 2 days just because she knew her work colleagues for 15 years and she didn't want to just quit full turkey. And I said, well, how much do you need to just drop 3 days a week while she still only works 2 days at her current job? And it was in a bakery department, so it was very early starts, 4 o'clock in the morning, long shifts, and obviously I wanted to get her out of that ASAP. And I remember one of my goals when I went into property is I wanted to have that happen as soon as possible. I sort of said to her 2 years, but it's taken roughly 3. And since end of October, she's now 3 days at my house.
Wow.
Handling some new role of, you know, job position that we've done so that she can handle.
Yeah.
And that has got her out of her job to spend more time with us, help with the business, of course, and through a bonus, spend more time with her granddaughter.
Congratulations, mate.
Yeah, so that's one of the best things, I guess. There's a whole bunch of stuff that people can flex on what they've achieved with finances. But when you talk about that stuff, like, no one can hate on that.
Yeah.
That is absolutely subconsciously most people's goals.
How does that make you feel?
It's very good because you know, my dad's been sitting on his ass for over a year. So it's not through not saying it like that, but eventually the goal was to get both of them, you know, off.
Yeah.
And helping with the business, you know, teaching them stay within the, you know, just keeping the money in the family, as a lot of smart families eventually do, that you've seen through generations. Yeah, but mainly just taking her off the labor-based side because she's, you know, approaching 60 soon. And this now I've told her, if you help with this side, it frees up my time. And if you free up my time, it means I can do more things productively, which eventuates to more money, which eventuates to more help towards the family. And she saw that. It took a while. It took like, even when I made the decision, it took like 3 months nonstop of convincing her to do this.
That's where the negotiation.
Well, old school parents, man. Old school parents would just be like, no, you know, what about this? What about this? It was a very good, you know, and I just said, well, how much is it going to cost? 3 days a week at this amount times 52. Here, mum, I can just transfer. I remember saying, I'll just transfer this. You just keep it in your account. This is your yearly whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, she sort of had confidence and did it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I had a really interesting brief encounter in the DMs this morning, and I think this ties in nicely to this. So someone basically asked me, is it too late to buy Bitcoin? First time they've ever messaged me, and I said, that's not the right question. I said, you need to know what would make it too late. And they basically said, I'm trying to protect my family and look after my family here. And I said, well, I can't give you advice, but if you're looking for something that's a quick win, then you're probably on the wrong path already. It's not going to matter if Bitcoin 10x's from here. And they basically came back and said, yeah, I suppose you're right. I just need to start stacking some money so that I can invest into something to then look after my family, because I really care about my family. And I said, that's really admirable, but if you really cared about your family, then there was another message and said, do you know anything about XYZ and then ZYB? And I'm like, I've never heard of A and I've never heard of B, and both to me sound like something you've seen on the internet that you're going to make some money from
Real
quickly.
Fast, quick scam.
But if you really care about your family, then stop the quick win shit and go and learn how to add more value to the marketplace. Don't use your care for your family as a driver, because if it really was important to you, you would go and learn what you need to learn to be able to make enough money, to be good at something, to be able to then look after them. Yeah. Not be like, I really care about my family. That gives me an excuse to dump any...
people say that standing over a blackjack table.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but my family, hit.
Yeah.
They fuck it up, You can't just use that as a blanket excuse.
Yeah. So the faster we get rid of the quick win shit, then we get on the path of, okay, where can I figure out what I'm good at that's sustainable? I can make some money. Then you can see all the things that you could see, right? Okay, can I get some time back? If I'm going to pay someone to do this, why not my mum? I don't want her working at 4 a.m. Okay, I can solve that too. That's meaningful to you. So I think it's cool that you've been able to do that, but I think it's a good example for other people where you just see people doing cool shit for their family and you think, I want to do that too.
Yeah.
But some people, I think, are lying to themselves about why it is that they want to see Bitcoin 10x, because then they could. And
chances are that guy probably only had like $2,000. He was probably going to buy $2,000 with a Bitcoin, and even if it 10x'd, he's going to end up with 20. That ain't enough money to do anything. What are you going to do? Hope for that to 10x? No way. So you're playing the game of luck there, rather than actually developing that skill, which is the main thing. And one of the hardest things as well, if you're going to take the plunge and quit your job, or like try and convince your parents or whoever to also do that to them, you cannot have your income based on luck. No. You are absolutely dangerous if you're doing that shit. So you have to have it based on a clear skill that if I know how to do this, in my situation, it's I know how to negotiate properties on a very, very good asking price. I have patience to call 100 people in one day if I need to. This is the difference, because a lot, preface here for the amazing podcast listeners and the comments of people saying, I can see where this is going, taking advantage of desperate vendors in a certain economic time. No one's forcing anyone to sign anything. Then it gets reviewed by their lawyer, it gets reviewed by an agent, it gets reviewed by the vendors. 3 separate people that often would advise someone to sign or not, right? Eventually, you're playing the numbers game, you find great deals. Then you have to also have a keen eye for detail and not overcapitalize on the renovation. Then you have to have a very accurate understanding of the sale price. Then it sells and you have a certain profit. If you can rinse and repeat that safely, you now have a skill that you can translate that, and no one can take that away from you. Yeah. That is the key thing. It's not luck. There was data, there was words that came out of your mouth, there were methods, speed, timing. That wasn't just like, oh, hey, mum, quit. I made this 10x fucking coin here. And then next year, don't worry, it'll happen again. And shit changes. Yeah, that's where you can't be operating on luck.
And I'd imagine there's probably some people that come to either your webinars or your seminars and then realize, oh, shit, I've got to do a lot of doing here. There's a lot I've got to learn. But like you say, once you learn that stuff and you carry on down that path and you're giving them an avenue to actually go and do that, rather than just kind of hope that they're going to turn up get injected with some sort of natural brilliance in property and go, sweet, I can just go and do exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
what
like
you've
it took
done.
me 2 years to sort of do this, and like I do say this to people that come to seminar, like I was obsessed and still am about property and learning, and long before property, I was reading books on negotiation, sales, Wolf of Wall Street, all that type of straight line system, tonality.
Yeah.
I was a door-to-door salesman for a whole year, making no money on commission only, with a mortgage, and I like for 6 months I made nothing. I had to I'm pretty sure at that point, even the financial hardship from KiwiSaver over 10 years ago, when I couldn't pay the mortgage because of 6 months, I just didn't make any sales from door knocking. Financial hardship, pain in the ass to get out with ANZ back then.
Yeah.
Just for ANZ to take it out and give it back to them again to pay the mortgage, right?
Yeah.
And then after 6 months, I sort of clicked on something, on how to actually talk to people when I'm standing at their door, hearing cutlery drop at 6:30 p.m. for them to come open the door for a door-to-door salesman. Cancel dinner with their family. No, I don't care if you guys are catching up on school. I need to talk to you to sell you this thing.
Yeah.
And then after 6 months, I got good at that. And then that sort of stuck with me. And then just overall networking with other people, forcing the extrovert type situations to always talk more people. That's the skills, And then if you put that into a very high ticket result, which is property sales, that becomes good. The other option was become an agent.
I was about to say, i.e. real estate agents.
Yeah, but I've explained this a lot. There are peak real estate agents in New Zealand that they're very little. But this way here is more fun, and it's also can make a lot more than them.
Yeah, nice. So you found your vehicle. So your vehicle to wealth. So I've never really seen too many people that can run as hard as you. And when I say that, I mean, post doing that first couple of pods, you were running webinars, and then off the back end of that, you had a half price ticket to a seminar. I'm like, genius. And then your mentorship on the other side of that, if you want to do that too. But you had people buying at all of those angles, right? And then you had your website going.
Yeah. And the mentorship's $20,000 plus just.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people would have a high ticket, I guess, different angle, and I guess wait for people to discover the price. I put it on my website immediately. No call in, inquire. It's 20 grand plus just this is how much it costs.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe in the value of it. I've seen the results come from it, and I understand that, again, it's property transactions. This isn't pay this to go and learn an e-com store to sell mugs and wait for your 20 grand gross profit, then net profit to even get your money back.
Yeah.
With property, you can do one flip and double that, And it's been the case. But then you learn the skills.
I think a lot of people probably don't understand how much energy it takes to sell something, whether it's a webinar, a seminar, because you've got to have the venue in line. You've got to put the content together.
Oh, yes.
You've got to figure out, the venue start asking you, how do you want the fucking chairs set up? And you're like, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cabaret, classroom style, fucking, yeah.
It's $8 to use the marker pen if you're not bringing your own. Oh, fuck, I don't care.
Oh, did you want the whiteboard too?
Oh, that's another 200.
Yep, 100%. Got schooled on that for the last two.
We're going to need you out by this time. And now we get to the catering. Oh my God, I just want to teach some people some shit.
Yeah, 100%.
You've got the drain of all of like organizing.
Yeah.
And then you need the push on the other side of, do you want to come?
And
why should I?
Yeah, the constant updates of content.
Yeah.
To keep pushing it. Oh, fuck, the website went down.
Yeah.
Oh, the payment link's fucked.
Hey, my mate John wants to come, but only for the second half of the day. Can he come too? Does he have to pay a full ticket?
100%. That's it. Yeah.
And this is the stuff that people never see. They're like, oh, fucking this guy's online selling a webinar, selling a seminar. Oh, fuck. That's just taking money from
and
people.
they're mostly just 1 or 2, 3 man shows behind the scenes. This ain't Grant Cardone that has like 50 staff organized. He doesn't even know any problem that's happening. His job is on this time, the curtain opens, you walk out. That's it. It's the only thing, And obviously it takes a lot of hustle to get to that point.
Yeah.
So all the 5 seminars and stuff that I had to do this year was just mainly the 2-3 man team, And even that now to the biggest one that we've got coming up next week, Wednesday, December 13th and I've always wanted to do this at the Hoyts Cinema, the biggest screen in Australasia.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just have a cinema setting, and we've got nearly 200 people attending that, and that is just sort of an end-of-year Asgard event, and it's going to be a lot around, say, motivation, still a lot about property, but yeah, and have a mini movie we've made on the screen.
What's the date of that?
December 13th.
Oh, shit. I'm doing a webinar on the...
Wednesday?
Yeah, 7 p.m.
Really?
Yeah.
7 p.m. Wow.
It's the same time.
Yeah, 6 to 8:30.
Damn it. Yeah, mine's 7 till probably 9. Yeah.
And yeah.
It's both going hard.
Yeah, I know. Hoyt Sylvia Park.
Part of why I wanted to do it is because people would tell me early in business, like, oh, business owners don't do anything in December, man. Money, they're thinking about Christmas as well. The other day I was thinking, okay, I'm going to do a webinar / workshop online. I was do it in January. Then I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to collect the data. I'm going to find out, do people pay to come to a workshop or webinar? 13th. That's a pretty smack bang in the middle of December.
100%, yeah.
And I'm just having 30 people there, so not some big baller event like yours. But
Yeah.
I'm at 28. I've got 2 to go, so I'll get there
Mint.
easy as.
Yeah.
But 30 people keen to come along to learn and happy to transact. But again, like same as you've got then the welcome emails, you've got the post, you've got to have the content together. And I think people just don't understand how much effort goes into pulling these things together. January next year, I have my event in the horse racing space. I can get 850 in that room. So I'm about to go into full on like... we're selling. Like we need to get people in this room.
It'll be constantly on your mind, even throughout Christmas Day, New Year's Day. Yep.
Yeah, so when everyone's having a beer, chilling, and just relax, like my mind is like creativity, looking around, going, fuck, what's another angle that we can talk about this?
Do I need to do a post?
Yeah. Why haven't I done one? It's been 2 hours. So, I think people look at what people are doing online and think, oh, that must be really easy and whatnot. Well, the reason that it's not is that you're not doing it. If it was that easy, go and have a crack, go and try one, see how many people you can fill up in a Zoom room or in a physical room, and then see if you're brave enough to charge them to be in there too.
Exactly. And not to say if it fails that you should give up.
No,
you definitely, like, I had no idea what I was gonna almost a year now, January I had my first seminar, and I was like no one in property, absolutely nothing. I think at that point I had done like 28 flips, but I didn't fucking talk about it at all. Because a lot of people, if they scroll on my social media, I used to do like comedy skits a lot, comedy vlogs, always, still. And that's why I'm like, that was fucking super fun. And then I had to transfer it into property, which is very fun to do, but it's not fun for me really to talk about on content. I'll sit here and have the podcast. That's cool. That's not structured.
Yeah.
Get it done within 90 seconds, fucking blah, blah, what do you know?
Yeah.
But comedy has always been fun for me to do and film. So then I'm like, well, I don't want my page to go into that, because you have to be also a guy that charges 20 grand for the certain fucking product, right?
Yeah.
But if I can mix in property with comedy so people learn and have their attention to watch the whole video and understand a bit better, which is why now certain stories, and we're doing a few jokes and making it towards property.
Well, I even saw one the other day where you had shorts with the blazer and...
Desperate agents be like...
Yeah, and then doing a roly-poly under the Christmas tree and shit.
to get the S&P under the tree.
Yeah, and it's engaging and it's relatable and it's genuine and it's a bit of banter compared to, oh, here's old mate in a blue suit telling me, here's the 6 things to make sure on your sell and purchase. And you're like, oh,
I know. It's fucking boring.
Here's the 7th one, mate. I'm going to the next story.
Yeah, 100%. But at the end of the day, it's important to know.
Yes.
It is an important thing, because at the end of the day, I know a lot of people that message me, they're about to buy their first home, and they're shitting themselves about very easy, simple clauses that might be in there, but never in their life, never at uni, never at their full-time job, never from their parents were they taught what the fuck this means. And if you literally sign that thing and get it wrong, you could lose tens of thousands of dollars, like immediately, and go on to be sued after the fact, which then is years of fucked your pain, right? And that's never been a thing that's a compulsive learning thing to teach people in the world, in New Zealand. Nah.
But it's weird because property's one of the most engaged with and sought after assets / liabilities of people's lives.
Correct.
And so blindly go in without understanding so much of the legal side of it, the accounting side, or even the numbers, or the economy and the interest rates can change and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%.
But those are 30-year loans for most people.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like people, like I'm only 31 at the moment, and I've sort of like in the last 3 years, well, when I've been doing this, like when I was in my 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I didn't care about property. I fucking tried to become a door knocker.
Yeah.
At 21, you know, I was like, oh, fucking stocks sounds pretty cool. And then eventually when you click and you're like, wait a minute, some of the richest people in this country, which is seem to be one of the best places in the world to live, you know, say what you want with the previous government, etc. It's still an amazing place to live, where it's located, what it's surrounded by, nature. And then the richest people that park their wealth here, it's in property. So I was like, okay, this is a very important thing to have here. Then you start learning about the taxes that people get charged overseas. Just like this thing called stamp duty, which is like a paper tax. Just the government, just whatever your purchase price is, they just put on an extra, I'm not too sure, can't quote me on this, but there's a stamp duty tax on it in Australia as well. In Singapore, I learned this as well, that if you buy more than one property, so you own one property, you go to buy your second property, apparently it's like a 30% tax that they charge you on the purchase price of your second property immediately.
Wow. I was being told a story recently about Singapore, and I haven't gone to see if this is entirely accurate, but basically a lot of content going on over there around money being laundered, and there's quite like $1 billion situation. Now, the stamp duty, I think, has gone from 30% to 60% for buying some of those properties. So basically, you want $1 million property, but it's probably 10 million. Well, then you got to throw up
300K.
Yeah.
Wait.
Now to 600K. Yeah, in tax. So you got to pay that on top.
Yeah. And there's people out there that are like, okay.
Yeah, they'll do it.
Like the abundance of like how wealthy other people are in Singapore. And that's why when they opened up the Overseas Investment Act for them to buy here, when they see the $2 million house in Remuera, to them that's fucking cheap.
Yeah.
With no stamp duty tax. Oh, there might be some other tax obviously linked towards them, but to them it's a steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was talking to someone who had a client that just bought 4 houses right next to each other.
Wow.
Yeah, he just bought, he'd never sight unseen. He's in Singapore.
Yeah.
Mental.
Far out. Right, let's turn, mate, to some of the stories from mentees from throughout the year and people that you've been working with.
So one of them you just sort of leaned into beforehand. She came to my seminar in May, and she was there about to buy a property with her friend literally the following week. She had it under contract, which means that the only thing you sort of have to do is, once you've satisfied all your conditions, is put one email to the lawyer, please declare unconditional. Obviously the lawyer can, did you satisfy this, whatever. But she was about to do that with her friend, came to my seminar, and in the first half of it, she raised her hand. I was noticing her, she was asking quite a few questions as if she was halfway through doing this property.
Yeah.
Like how to do the renos, do this. And then at the end of the break, she came to me and goes, hey, this is the situation. I'm going to buy this property with my friend. She showed me the address, and I looked at it, told her, I was like, hey, if it was me, I'd can that. Fuck that. She's like, really? And I was like, yeah, anyway. Then at the end of the seminar, she was like, okay, now I 100% agree with you. Then she had to have a massive, little argue with her friend and tell her that night, like, nah, I'm going to pull out. I'm just going to do it on my own, blah, blah, blah. She ended up then seeing me do my mentorship. Decided to use part of her savings on what she had there, which when I was watching other people pitch this, paying for that amount of money, your brain instantly goes to, wouldn't I just use that for my deposit? Why would I pay this guy tens of thousands when I can put that towards my deposit? And people think of just attaining that 500K purchase price. They don't think about, what if I can still get that 500K house at 465? Because this guy has shown me where to get those deals from, or how to bring it down to that level, or how to do X, Y, Z and save elsewhere. They just think, oh, but I'm trying to buy a 500K house. If I give him 20 grand, I'll only have 480. But you can still achieve that 500K house. You just got to negotiate it. Anyway, so she said, I'll do your mentorship. And I always respected that someone like that, very young as well, only 21, did it, had to explain to her parents as well. And they were just like, fucking, they aren't on Instagram. They don't see my content. They have no idea who I am. And then she told them, and I flew to Wellington, did it with her over the 2 days, and then ended up finding her a 4-bedroom house on subdividable land, double car garage in Wanganui for 305 grand. And it was literally upon purchase worth at least 4. So she got 400, like she bought a 400K house for 305.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And she said to me, she's like, I'm pretty sure that you would have saved me like $500,000, a $500,000 mistake going
Far
through
out.
with my friend.
Yeah.
And then I caught up with her a couple of weeks ago and I was like, hey, whatever happened to your friend? Is she? She's like, oh yeah, she's, still looking or gonna go do it with her partner now. And,
So her friend and her were going to do a deal together. What
Correct.
was wrong with that deal that you could see it, very quickly?
Well, what they thought, I was like, what's your guys' plan to buy this? Because a lot of people, they just scratch at the surface to get their first house to then not pay rent, which is fair. It's good to have that in an equation.
I see.
But it's like, you ain't coming to my seminars just wanting to buy one house and stop. Like you're learning from the guy that's done 60 almost, right? Why would you come and watch mine if you aren't going to try and bounce, springboard, leverage to buy more? And I said to her, once you buy this one, it's too much. Your comparable sales around the area is nowhere near this. You guys will get stuck here, and I don't think you guys will be able to buy anything else for 5 years.
Wow.
That's what I sort of said to her.
Yeah.
And she eventually learned about that. And then when she took her 305K one, and then maybe got a valuation back that was far more than her purchase price, she jumped on it immediately, and she can now look to buy her second one probably next year.
Wow. So they together were going to buy a property, live in it.
Yep.
That reduces their rent expense.
Yep.
They're swapping rent for then mortgage repayments in that time, I'd imagine. And then what, they're going to renovate it and then try and...
You're
or add
already
some-
adding more cost to it.
Yeah.
You're like, it was too much what they were going to pay. Like what they had under contract for was too much. And then they were going to go spend another 80 grand or 50, 60 grand on it. And I was like, that ain't going to change it.
Yeah, so then they're going to be stuck because they're not actually going to be able to sell to get out or sell at a profit.
Nah,
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've saved the money there. Then you've made her money by finding her a deal that she's got
Correct.
it cheaper than what the true market value is.
Yeah. And doing this by yourself is
Scary.
difficult already.
Yeah.
But at least you've got the decisions entirely to pivot in any direction you see fit. Doing this with a friend that also a year comes around and the interest rate goes up and the fucking value's gone down.
Yeah.
And you guys now, lost a bit of equity. You're now like, oh, fuck, this is difficult because one might want out. One might, want to do this. This one wants to spend 80 grand on the reno. And you're like, why? We shouldn't be doing that. And they'll be clashing there because you're not even starting on a green field. You're starting on the red on the charts.
Yeah.
So that's where it would have been very messy.
Yeah, I even see that in business where we'll get a client. The business could be identical to another business. And I think, oh, this will be nice and easy. And then this one's got 10 shareholders. This one's got 1. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is going to be a nightmare.
100%.
Yeah, or even 2 or 3. And you think, okay, it's 3 lots of explaining it. There's 3 lots of money, language, mindset. There's 3 lots of futures changing. And there's 3 lots of upbringings. And there's 3 lots of, I went to the pub and John told me that I could fucking reverse my ute in the building and we'll claim our insurance and it's all good, man.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. Yeah.
and you're like, oh my God. But then one shareholder, this is what's going to happen. This is how it works. Okay, sweet. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
All
there's
right,
a lot of
bang.
ways that can get messy. And the fact that like the person who didn't bring in their partner, and then she wants to bring the partner. So what happened if you guys actually did it? Where the hell is the partner sitting now?
Yeah.
What's he going to say 6 months down the track when you're eligible to sell it after using your KiwiSaver, etc.?
So this example, this person then finds a property undervalued, secures it, and then what are they doing to that property?
Owner occupied
I
and
see.
renovating it.
Ah, I see.
So by the time
Adding
they
value to
renovate it for their 50, 60 grand expense, they'll be all in, say, around the 370 mark.
Yeah.
And that house should be worth 500.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like
Nice.
got a double car garage down the back, can be converted into a minor dwelling, like a good location near the town centre. It's one of the best finds, yeah.
Nice. And how did you pick that? Oh, that's where they lived over that way, or they were happy
No,
to go?
lived in Wellington.
Wow. So they're going to move there?
Yeah, already.
Shit.
Yeah, she's been living in there for the last 2 months now.
It's amazing what people are willing to do when they're really dedicated to changing their life, right?
100%. It also comes down to their job as well, right? If it gave them the ability to work remote, which
Yeah.
her one did.
Wow. So this person came to the seminar and learnt some of these things and has
Then,
gone.
like pulled the pin out of her contract, then said, okay, if I'm not going to buy a property with her, I still need to buy a property. So I guess I'm going to take on your mentorship to make sure that I do a very good purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah.
All right. Any other stories that stand out?
There's another
from this
one
year?
that's pretty good where just for a lot of listeners thinking about buy and holds as well for long term, where there was one client came to the seminar in August as well, and he wanted to buy a long-term hold and asked me where's the best place for good yields. And I sort of told him one of our sweet spots, and the average price here, Gisborne was one of them, has a 3-bedroom sitting at around about 450 to 550K, and rents there are quite high, and need a certain place that has a good yield, enough equity as well. That's the double. You need a good yield, so you're not topping it up as much, and you need enough equity to then use again to go buy another one, right? You can't just have one, because if you have only the one, you're pretty much going to get stuck. And again, we sat down on the mentorship, day 2, with doing it through me, there's a lot of connections that I have. There's a lot of agents feeding me deals that are like off market, and they know that now they're following my social media and stuff. They know I have access. They have a lot more buyers ready, and and I tell them, I'm very careful with how I suggest properties, and I can never force anyone to buy anything. I just sort of reveal, if it was me, I would look at this. And he ended up buying a 3-bedroom that rented for around 600. And he got it for 305 as well. And I was like, this is crazy. This is the same purchase price as another mentee's house. But that was massive. And that house there would have given him at least, it was worth, again, over 400.
Shit.
It was a vendor that was extremely desperate to sell, and it went to auction, got passed in.
Shit.
Which means that now a lot of their hopes and expectations have just fucking diminished. No bidders whatsoever. Agent reached out to me. Hey, Tama, this one fell over. Might be interested. What is she after? Oh, she was expecting 400. And then I was like, okay, cool. Let's get some things happening on paper. Back and forth. Took like 2 weeks. And eventually 305.
Wow. Yeah. Far out.
Yeah, which is, huge savings, right?
Yeah. And then they'll improve that, and then
He doesn't even have to.
Oh, yeah.
Literally. So there's ways that you can get it valued, where you can do forced appreciation, where you do the renos and you can explain it to a valuer and show evidence of what the works was done, and then he will then value it accordingly.
Gotcha. Take
Take into all the improvements, the chattels, the area, the land size, etc. Or you can just buy so well under value that when he does it, it's just based on what it looks like compared to things sold in the area.
So then you're then using the equity in that property to get you into the next thing.
Correct.
Or just to keep you, you might park it as a rental property, for instance.
Yeah, well, he last week he just went unconditional on another house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one he'll do a flip on it.
How have you juggled your time between the mentorship and seminars and webinars and replying to people and relationships and whatnot versus doing, your craft?
Yeah.
Have you sort of dialed
It's
that
been
down?
hard. That's why it's like on the 2 days of the mentorships, basically my phone is almost sort of off as much as it can be, and it is dedicated to them completely. We do as much as we can for that benefit. And then after that, I make, at the peak of everything, 50 to 80 phone calls a day. And that's with tradies, that's with the mentees, and giving them enough confidence and to take initiative as well, which is a good thing. And then sharing information, documentations, S&Ps to review, all that type of stuff. I thought there needs to be sort of an easier way for this to happen. And that's when InvestorPro sort of came into it. But we can get into that.
Let's go there.
Yeah.
So what the hell is that?
That was the key. That was there was no mobile app in New Zealand that I know of.
Just quickly, sorry. You've built an app.
Not me,
Okay.
but
you've had it built.
Correct. And it's live now, investorpro.co.nz or investorpro.nz.
So that needs a website as well.
Yep, 100%. Yep. Get it. Yep.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to review numbers on a profit split or renovations, Excel spreadsheet, Google Docs, whatever the hell it is. Have you ever tried doing that on your phone?
Yeah, it's a
nightmare.
I got one on the way here.
Yep.
And I'm basically saying to my staff member, I can't look at this. I'm on my phone. Tell me what the issue is.
Yep.
What's the yellow? I don't know. You can't go between these tabs
Yeah.
on this tiny device.
Your one would be probably a little bit more extensive because
Yeah.
you're an accountant, right?
Yeah.
But for a property trader, they're spreadsheets, but InvestorPro was something that you put in your purchase price, you put in your expected sale price, you put in all your renovation numbers, then it puts in your tax, it puts in GST, and then it spits out a number. Gross profit, net profit, and it gives you instant feedback if this deal would be viable, if it's hot, or if it's not viable, right? That is instant feedback on the app done cleanly straight away.
Yeah.
Then we were like, that is amazing, because I would use that all the time if I'm just doing a quick thing over the phone, or if I'm doing it at auction and I need to know what number I could sort of bid up to.
Yeah.
Then it's like, well, shouldn't it be a platform on your phone still where, say, you're reviewing a house and you go take all the photos of everything you think you need to renovate. When you've inputted that deal, it should hold and save that deal to your dashboard on your phone still, and you can import every photo you just took of the house. That'd be cool. Sweet. And then there's a notes section. You should be writing their notes. Everything you think. We need to upgrade the heat pump, check this, book this, all linked to that flip. And then at the bottom, it's got upload S&P, upload the bills report, upload valuation, upload the title. So you can have all your documentation all in that one space.
Nice.
And then we're like, that's just for flippers. But majority of property investors in this country, the masses, are the buy and hold.
Yeah.
So where is the instant cash flow analysis to say, if I bought it for this and I put in this interest rate and this is the rent and this is the rates, how much money am I going to be negative or positive? Oh, let's get out this spreadsheet. Let's fucking do. I can do it in 5 seconds on my phone.
Nice.
Do it on InvestorPro because the InvestorPro Premium just launched, and that gives you the full cash flow analysis, which is everything that an accountant or mortgage broker mainly would do. When they're reviewing their client's feasibility, their finance position, they're putting in the house, all the rates. Do you know this? Do you know this? Do you know this? You're going to have to top this up an extra $400 a week, or you're going to have to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But that's giving a lot of power, and you have to wait for your broker to come back. And I've seen this a lot. When we're waiting for our buyers to come back and do their fucking numbers, it's like now they can sort of do it on the spot with that. So the buy and hold thing is massive. And there's nothing like it in New Zealand.
Does that you factor in the interest rates and your own income and stuff like that?
You can input anything you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Change your tax rate, change the interest deductibility, make it principal and interest or interest only, all that stuff.
Wow. How come no one had built something like this?
I'm not too sure. It was featured on the old Opus Boys, you know?
Yeah.
And they were like, we should do something like this. And it was funny when they said that. And I was like, oh, yeah.
You know that they're working on that right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because it was for flippers, right? It was mainly built for us
Gotcha.
to flip. Just so we can see the gross profit, the net profit. And be like, yeah, okay, it's pretty good. And then your tax. But then we did the buy and holds. And that's when they're like, oh, shit, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the other cool function of it is if you were going to do JVs with someone, the another way that's very helped is when I do JVs with people, I'm not like the most analytical input numbers myself. But some of the people that I do JVs with are, because that's pretty much the only job, right? What InvestorPro gives you is we can load up a deal, input all the numbers, the renovation costs, everything, and it offers to share it. So there's a button there that says share with, and you can instantly share that entire data and open it up on someone else's phone in China. Who's your JV partner? Or let's say Singapore, because that's where it's legal, right? So they can just say a deal is shared, all the data's been imported from Tama, and they'll just open up under their shared deals tab, and they'll see it there. Oh, cool. So he's inputted this expense. Oh, he's inputted this. If I click here, I open up the S&P, blah, blah, blah. So the shared deals function is massive. And then there's a thing we've done, which is the explore. You can make the deal public. So it puts it on for everyone that's got the app can scroll the explore page and see different types of deals that people are doing and selling.
Yeah, wow.
Cool, eh? And you can leave a comment, you can like it, all that type of stuff.
Shit, smart.
Yeah.
And had you been brewing this idea in your head for
I was. I actually was, yeah. Especially, you know, a lot of people think about the digital courses and how to provide that type of stuff for ultimate scalability, right? And that is a good idea. But when the InvestorPro came out, I was like, well, this is just an absolute amazing tool. We operated for 2.5 years with nothing like this.
Yeah.
I just had to fucking use my calculator, and then at the end of the month, maybe I'll put it into a spreadsheet, right? I knew all of them were like massively profitable, but this now tells me to the dollar exactly what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the cool thing about it as well is for the investors, there's the resources tab. So you click the resource tab at the bottom and it opens up an inspection checklist, what I look for. There, download straight away. It's got discount codes with exclusive partners that we're partnering up with, because this is just trying to give as much value to property investors. And we've signed on Carpet Mill, which is quite good, the nationwide supplier of carpets, as the exclusive discount code on the app for the premium users. That's $20 a month.
Shit. How many users have you got using it at the moment?
We have 523 people that's on the app, and then we're just going to continue pushing more towards that. It'll be a huge point.
Is there a free version and a premium?
Free version and premium,
Yeah.
And one of the key things is at the seminar, I teach deal sourcing. And that's one of the things I think we talked into great detail, where people would just be sending me shit on DMs, sending me text messages, and I can't remember where they sent the S&P, what deal this is linked to. Have you ever tried people to send you shit on Instagram so much?
Yes.
Yeah. And so now InvestorPro gives you that shared deals function. I'm teaching the next people at the seminars, if you want to become a deal sourcer, you upload it all to here and you click 2 buttons. You share it with me and boom, I can see every single thing you've inputted, and that will tell me if it's a good deal or not.
Nice.
That's how to like bring the time back in.
Yeah.
And I do it with the mentees you were asking before. I get on the 2 days, we sit down, we input all the numbers, and then we come to a certain gross profit, and then I'm like, are you guys happy with this? And they're like, yes, of course they are. Like, sweet. Now, as you guys input expenses, etc., I can go on it and just check what's happening.
So the deal sourcing, that's where you're basically finding deals for other people to buy and to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
we've got so many people that are just constantly after more deals. Mentees, there's about 4 of them that are on to their second flip already.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they've improved or added value, they've made a profit on it, they've sold, and they're going again.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. Nice.
Yeah, some of them are quite hungry, which is good to see,
Yeah.
Yeah, because they all range in difference, and I just go at people's speed.
Have you found that since quitting your job, you've had more mental rent, I like to call it, to just really dial in and focus on this and throw at it?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing back in the day, you'd have 2 phones, you'd have to keep track of, 2 separate emails, just my one property main phone. That's anywhere from 50 phone calls a day during the weekdays, Yeah.
I'd struggle with that. That's
So AirPods on Bluetooth when you're driving, walking the dog, if you even have time to do that. Yeah.
How many times a day do you say, "Oh, just wait for my AirPods to connect"?
Fucking so many times. That I'll call you back function because you're already on 2 phone calls at once.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
That's what I've gone back to the old school headphones, because then there's I'll just wait for my headphones to connect, and also the microphone on those way better.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
And it avoids your Bluetooth brain cancer, right?
Whenever there's a zigging, start zagging. Yeah. What does 2024 look like for Asgard and for yourself?
That's the good thing, and I put that question out to the followers for the seminar that I'm doing in December. What does your guys' 2024 look like? And I don't want people to be posting their New Year's resolutions, goals. It's like, oh, wait, let's just scroll up. Let's scroll up and see what you posted for 2023.
Yeah.
Did you do any of that shit, or are you just all shit again, right? So when I went to the seminar, it was mainly to talk about 2 types of people. They know what to do, but they have no motivation, or they have all the motivation and they just don't know what to do, because you have to have 2 sides, right? So for me, it's all about teaching people both of those things. So there will be half of that at the seminar. For myself, it'll be scaling back the mentees, the one-on-ones, and then we're going to go into probably only 2 seminars next year, and then focus a lot more on InvestorPro.
Yeah.
And yeah, who knows? That's the main thing there, right?
Yeah.
Because I've done so many mentees like since May, August,
Yeah. It's intensive, isn't it?
Well, I just know that, I want them all to be finished up with their success profit of what the mentorship they paid for. They paid to have X amount back into their bank accounts. That is what I want. And I want that cleared from all of them. And if I have that, none of them lose money. None of them do this. Some of them have gone into other deals where it's like a subdivision deal for them. So we're like, cool. So that'll obviously going to finish up in like March next year.
Yeah.
2 of them are currently doing that at the moment. Great profit though, like 90 grand.
Have you helped those mentees see the opportunities that they couldn't see?
100% on those type of things,
Yeah.
like location of the house, dealing with surveyors, dealing with council, all that stuff that I had to learn myself. No one taught me that. I'm just like, just remember, anyone that like you have not got the answer to this, someone else that just puts on pants 1 foot at a time, we can say the other abbreviation that's a bit more rude than that, is just there with the answer.
Yeah.
Just call them, just email them. Everyone's fucking looking at the clock, waiting for it to be 5 o'clock. So call them, be courteous, be fast, efficient, prompt, and you'll get the answers. Collate the answers, and boom, you've got a surveying plan to submit to council. And, 2 of them right now will be lodged before Christmas. Titles hopefully issued in March. And, yeah, very good profits on some of that stuff. But just making people know that, you don't have to go to uni for the shit. Yeah. I didn't. I'm just a fucking guy that'll call everyone, until I get the answer.
Couple of things to finish there, mate. So is it an in-person event to finish the year or a webinar?
In person, live, in Hoyts.
Is it being recorded?
No.
Bugger. Yeah,
I know. Well, there might be some good recording spots. We'll try. Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll have to get something to in 2024.
Yeah.
And then last time we were speaking as well, you hadn't lost any money on a deal.
Correct.
Still correct? Still.
I love that you asked that question. Everyone can ask me that question all the time. Still no. Nah.
Well done.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good man. Right, mate. Well, it's been a huge 2023 for you, and specifically the second half of 2023 as well. So good to check in and see where you're at and see what you've got coming up. If people want to take a look at maybe a past webinar, I see that you can get access to those.
Yeah, you can see all those. Those are very good, easy to learn. Watch it with your partner. It's a good point to introduce what I talk about, how I speak, and an opportunity of how I might do a mentorship. Yeah, $49.
Yeah, and then the app for investors is
InvestorPro.nz, and that's $19 per month. And we're actually currently doing this crazy ass giveaway where someone that's joined up to it will win $5,000 cash, and we're drawing it live at Hoyts on the big screen on December 13th.
Oh, brilliant.
So just $19 gets you in the entry. Plus you get to use the app and see all the amazing functions.
Shit, why did I run this webinar? It's now costing me money. my own webinar.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Cool, mate. Thank you for that. If people want to check out more of what you're up to at Tama Singh on
Tama
Instagram.
Singh. Yeah, 100%.
Epic. Right, we'll see you on the next episode.
And again, thank you for your time, mate. You're awesome.